So the elders of the Jews built and prospered through the prophesying of the prophet Haggai and Zechariah, son of Edu. They finished their building by command of the God of Israel and by decree of Darius, and King Artaxerxes of Persia. And this house was finished on the third day of the month of Adar, in the 6th year of the reign of King Darius. The people of Israel, the priests, the Levites, and the rest of the returned exiles celebrated the dedication of the house of God with joy. They offered at the dedication of this house of God 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and as a sin offering for all Israel, 12 male goats, according to the number of the tribes of Israel. Then they set the priests in their divisions and the Levites in their courses for the service of God at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses.
Like I said, the scripture pretty much explains itself. If someone has anything else they want to add to it, that they saw something different, they may as well.
Church and government coming together. I just saw it as church and government moving together.
It ties into last week's lesson as well. You know, it's just that's what it's all about for this quarter, and you know, the church and the government coming together and doing what's right. We're gonna get through this pretty quick. All right, someone wants to read the commentary.
What? Ma'am? Oh, the commentary? Oh. Building the temple was a matter of policy of the Persian government. The Israelites had no government of their own. They were still slaves living in the Persian Empire. The Lord had granted grace to them so that a remnant remained, and the prophet Haggai and Zechariah continued to encourage them, reminding them the Lord was with them. The exile returned to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, but not to satisfy the whims of the king. Rather, they saw themselves as God's chosen people. Their goal was to return to the place where God had put his name. During their exile, they did not forget Jerusalem. The temple was dedicated to the Lord by the offering appropriate sacrifices, as had been noted by Solomon when he dedicated the first temple. The dedication was celebrated with joy. It was a victory celebration after a long and difficult battle. They had overcome their own sins, many opposition from local groups, and challenges from government officials. Encouraged by the prophet, they had resisted the allures of the people who wanted to help them in building the temple. They obeyed what was written in the law, keeping themselves from the people of the foreign nations.
Well, this is where we're gonna miss a lot of Sister Mitchell comments. Yeah.
Because she would have all of that for us this morning.
Yes, no.
Although we had some nice people telling us today, but she wouldn't take enough things.
Yeah. But here it says that they resisted the temptation. basically what happened, to do what was right, and to live and to live and obey the laws that was written. And yeah, with this, we got to just get used to being back in the service, and so that we get participation for one, you know. So this is a dry run today, but we will get right and be better as if we were before with the Sunday school lessons, and it will get better. The second outline, Passover was celebrated Ezra 6:19-22. If someone wants to read those, we're gonna read from the NRSV side.
Right, I can see it. On the 14th day of the first month, the returned exile kept the Passover. For both the priests and the Levites had purified themselves, all of them were clean. So they killed the Passover lamb for all the so so they killed the Passover lamb for all the returned exiles, for their fellow priests and for themselves. It was eaten by the people of Israel who had returned from exile, and also by all who had joined them and separated themselves from the pollution of the nations of the land to worship the Lord, the God of Israel. With joy they celebrated the festival of unleavened bread 7 days, for the Lord had made them joyful and had turned the heart of the king of Assyria to them, so that he aided them in the work on the house of God, the God of Israel.
What we see here, where God um, took an enemy and made him help the people that needed their help and assistance. Okay. Anyone has anything they want to say about the scriptures? No.
And I said they're both on the 20th. I'm down on the 20th. Said for they both the priests and the Levites had purified themselves. All of them was clean, so they killed the Passover lamb for all the returning to exile, for their fellow priests and for themselves. You know, when he was getting ready to come back over, when God told him they put the blood on the post. I was reading that. If y'all read it, it's a good story. It's something to think about. And they said, but I said the ladies, when they got ready there, they didn't have time to bake the bread, didn't have wheat, they didn't have time for it to rise. They didn't have time for them to wait on that. Because they was in a hurry to escape. They was in a hurry to get out of that place where God had told them. So when the blood passed over on the pole where it was, they was ready to go. But they said, and I like they said, the priest didn't have time. But what they purified themselves. They purified themselves. They got ready. And that's when now the pastor and everything gonna be ready. When we come up in my Olive Church, and it ought not to be just the Sunday school, it ought to be everybody that belongs to my Olive Church ought to purify themselves. We ought to be up here. Some preacher ought to lead us in a song sometime. Go to listen with us sometime. That's what I'm gonna say, purify yourself. So that's what I got of that. They had cleaned themselves up and they was ready to pass on over.
And also now that we know that when Jesus is the lamb now, so we don't have to sacrifice any animals anymore because Jesus sacrificed his blood for us. So